is Rangeley, Maine, a small mountain town with lots of nature and not a lot of people. And it's where we made our escape to this weekend, in search of something more than our daily lives could offer. We were on a mission to reconnect with our bodies, minds, and each other. With each activity came a lesson, and with it, a little bit more healing.
I'm scared.
So we've been in Maine for 2 months now, and we've taken a lot of day trips, but we were really looking forward to taking our first weekend trip. And we were really excited to have a nice, actual reset in nature. And that's really what motivated our move to Maine in the first place. So it was nice to get to really experience that in the most complete way that we had wanted to.
So we actually heard about Rangeley when we came to Maine for the first time last summer and went on a whitewater rafting trip. We were with a bunch of guys that were on a bachelor trip, and they were staying at one of their family homes in Rangeley. And our rafting guide was just like, oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful area. And I don't know if we would have heard about it if not for that moment. I haven't heard of anyone mention Rangeley since we've lived here.
Yeah. Our first lesson came from attempting to hike Saddleback Mountain with a summit of over 4,000 feet. Though we went in determined, we quickly realized that this might not be possible for us. The hike was on an exposed ski slope in 80-degree heat with a very intense elevation gain in a very short distance.
So we're not big hikers. We like going on walks, we like going on hikes, but we never really have done summit hikes. We don't really do super long, strenuous hikes. We like to enjoy ourselves. We're not opposed to challenging ourselves, but we're not let's suffer for hours uphill to see some great view for a second and then just come back down. Not really our vibe.
And we're very sensitive people. We knew from the beginning that this was going to be difficult, and we said right when we were going up, let's listen to ourselves, let's listen to our bodies, and let's listen to each other, and just keep checking in regularly.
How do you feel?
Happy to go down?
Yep. And sad about how my body feels.
Instead of pushing ourselves to achieve what we had set out to do, we instead listened to our bodies and to each other. Though some might see this as a failure, we certainly don't see it that way. We saw it as a major success in listening to what our bodies and our minds were telling us, and not feeling this pressure to complete what we had started at the expense of our own well-being.
I at one point had the thought of I can keep going and probably throw up, or I could stop at any point and enjoy the rest of my day. And I just don't need, for what? I just kept being for what?
Yeah. And I was I'm definitely on the verge of having a panic attack and on the verge of throwing up. One of them caused the other. I don't know which came first, but they were both happening for sure.
And I really felt connected during this hike, though, because I think this could have been one of those difficult relationship moments, potentially, if we were
really test you.
Yeah, one of us felt really strongly one way or the other. But I remember saying at one point, if this is really important to you to challenge yourself this way, I can keep going, but I'm just going to need to take breaks regularly so I can, get my
100%.
return back to homeostasis every once in a while.
Yeah, and I agreed, and we did that, and then we realized we were stopping every 10 feet, and that it would take us days to finish this. And we were let's just turn around. We don't need to be doing that.
And I felt great about that decision.
Yeah, same. It felt right. Along with that came the lesson of letting go. Lexi doesn't like the unpredictable, so they plan everything out to the minute. When we had to turn around, they were forced to reevaluate our day that had already been so meticulously planned, and be open to new possibilities.
We tried.
We know.
We know.
We can go swim or something.
Yeah. Let's do that.
And what a great lesson that was, because the day ended up far better than we could have imagined. We ended up spending the whole day on the beach at our campground, playing in the water, enjoying nature around us, and making a friend with a fellow camper who shared with us her stories and gave us valuable information to help guide the rest of our trip.
So at one point we were walking along the private beach at the campground trying to find a little place to set up, and this lovely woman stopped us and was like, I'm not using this whole area, please come put your chairs here. Welcome.
This is not my site. If you want to come here, come sit, please. You're very welcome. I just got this paddleboard. If you want to use it, go ahead.
And it was really nice because we actually took her up on it at one point, and she was like, I bought this paddleboard when I turned 70, and I've just been testing it out, and you guys are welcome to use it whenever you'd like. And she was just so friendly.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really cool that she started a whole new hobby in her 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was honestly actually very inspiring to me, because I have a lot of hobby ideas in my mind, and I think I have to do them all now.
Yeah.
And kind of beat myself up when I don't do them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to think, like, I could just start doing that
Yeah.
when I'm like 40,
Yeah.
50,
You don't have to do everything now.
70.
Yeah. And she was just so energetic and so friendly and just the perfect kind of person to meet in this setting.
Almost licking the camera.
God, what is with you two?
But she and her husband were very sweet, and they kind of like took us in and would come check in on us. And
Mm-hmm.
they gave us a bunch of like brochures for different areas in Maine that they've been to that they highly recommended. And
Yeah, it was really cool. And it was really nice of them. When we were just talking, they asked, like, do you have any other trips coming up? And they had just been to a place where we're going in a couple weeks, so they gave us like all their tips and everything that they learned. Like, oh, this hike is great. This one is not worth it. This one takes 6 hours, and we have to go down these logging roads, and nothing is as close as it seems.
And this was a trip where we didn't have a lot of stuff planned out yet, so it was actually really nice to get their recommendations.
Yeah. And they were so kind. Like, here, take these brochures. I opened it, I marked this. They made a ton of notes and gave us a little book to read with like pages folded down of the hikes that they recommended or the places they thought would be cool to see, and then like their own little notes about like on the map of what it was actually like, which was just so helpful and so cool. And they were just so quick to, within minutes of meeting us, like hand us all this stuff. Like, hey, here's everything that you might need. We knew we had made the right decision when we experienced the most beautiful sun shower while swimming in the lake. This moment was nothing short of profound, and we both sat in complete awe as we took in this otherworldly experience. Our next lesson came at night. My anxieties heightened significantly at night, and we both experienced difficult nightmares during this trip. While being away from the distractions of daily life, it is easier for difficult thoughts to surface. But that doesn't mean that we should keep ourselves busy forever. In fact, this is where some of the most significant healing can happen. One of the best things about having like a really trusting and safe partnership is that you can work through the things that make you anxious instead of having to avoid them altogether, which is always my natural inclination. So it's really nice to have someone, you know, by your side to know what can make you anxious and know how to best help you and how to get through that, and so that next time it's not as hard. And now you can just say, okay, that's a thing that makes me anxious, but you know, if you're going into it together, that it's going to be totally manageable.
And it's doable, but it's really difficult to push yourself when you're alone, or just come up with that motivation somehow when your instinct is to avoid. But I think it's so much more doable when you know, like, here's someone who has my best interest in mind, who's looking out for me, and you just know everything's going to be okay, and we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
And I think that has just set us up really well to do a lot of really cool things together that maybe one of us wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. We allowed our minds to purge the things that they needed to, and we comforted and consoled one another through those experiences. I have a fear of open water, especially on smaller boats, and especially when I'm not in control. However, once we were out there, it only took a few minutes of seeing the pure joy in Lexi's face for me to work through my anxiety.
We're having fun. Lexi's having a lot of fun.
Seeing that childlike wonder on their face as we flew across the massive lake in the mountains was more than enough to make me realize the happiness of this moment. And once again, the universe rewarded us with another amazing sight. We found 2 loons in a far corner of the lake diving for food.
Oh my god!
We had heard these incredible birds the night before, and we were hoping we'd be able to see some during the trip.
As you can see, I love loons. Keegan got me this sweatshirt for my birthday, but I remember mentioning to Keegan that I've never actually heard what a loon call sounds like, but I feel like when you hear it, you'll just know. Like, it's that distinct. And that's exactly what our experience was.
That's very true.
We were laying in our tent late at night and just heard this very eerie, cooing sound. And I'm like, that's gotta be a loon.
Yeah.
And Keegan ended up Googling it and confirmed that it was.
Yes.
And
it was so distinct and so clear. It was so crazy. It like pierced through the night.
But it was really incredible to hear them on the first night and then to see a pair of loons while we were jet skiing.
Yeah, the next day.
Not at all expecting to see them. Just made me so happy.
Yeah. We've gotten very lucky with birds lately.
Yes, we have. But I've just always loved jet skiing in general, and it's something I did a lot with my dad and my sister on trips growing up, and it's just makes me feel like a kid, and it's just fun to go really fast on the open water, and so it was really nice to get back in touch with that feeling and do it with you, and I think that's just like a big goal that we have, is we're trying to just do those things that bring us that type of joy.
Yeah.
And it's great to bring that back into our lives now together.
To the point about anxiety, it is nice knowing that we can still allow each other to have those feelings and those experiences and feel that joy, even if it makes one of us kind of anxious or uncomfortable, that we have found some good ways to work through that and so we can still both do the things that make us feel great like that. We got a tip from our new friend to check out a place called Quail Hill, which wasn't too far from jet skiing and wouldn't require any physical effort. After almost 15 minutes on a dirt road, we had reached the summit, and it did not disappoint.
So we were joking because there was a sign at the top of the overlook that said, "Short walk to the lower viewing area." And we're like, we can do a short walk.
And it was very accessible. It's very like meant for like older or disabled people. It's very like conscientious of that. So there's signs everywhere like, you know, handicap accessible, short, easy hike, walk down to the lower platform. We're like, awesome.
After
Great.
the day we've had,
Yeah.
a short, easy walk is what we need.
Yeah.
And we found ourselves on this walk saying to each other, when do you think we're going to get to the overlook? Because this is no longer short or easy. And then it just started getting really hot.
Yeah.
And we're like, we can't even do the short easy hike.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was like just about at our limit. But I think if we wouldn't have done the summit attempt beforehand, we would have been totally fine to do this. Two cool things happened. One, a snake crossed the trail right in front of us, which was awesome. And a toad also crossed the trail in front of us. And it was just cool seeing all the native plants. Like, there's a lot of wild blueberries and raspberries.
Yeah.
And again, we're not big crazy hikers. We're more casual hikers. We're flatlanders.
Yes.
We're not used to this elevation.
Yeah.
And like Keegan said before, we're very sensitive people.
Yeah. It's hard to get used to this kind of terrain in your late 20s. We just don't have it in us at this stage of our lives. And it's just not worth it to push through all of that to get good at something that we don't really care that much about.
Yeah. Like, I've had the thought, I've said this out loud to you a couple times lately, like, what is the gist with hiking? Like, do we like hiking? Is it, like, the best thing ever, or is it, like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I still am kind of 50-50 with that, to be honest. Like, I love going for walks and just, like, chatting with you.
Yeah. We know what kind of hikes we like now.
Yes. And for me, it needs to be satisfying the entire time.
Yes.
I think that's also something about a summit hike.
Yep.
Where it's like this big lead up to the one special moment. I'd rather be enjoying the scenery the whole time, or there's mushrooms or cool plants that we can be appreciating, or...
Yeah, and I think that's the same thing with even just the walk down to the lower platform. It was like we were walking for like 15 minutes with just nothing happening. And it was just really boring.
Yeah, so shout out to that toad for
Spicing it up.
Yep.
Yeah. The view was amazing, though.
Yeah.
It was worth the walk down there. It was really incredible.
This just goes to show what can happen when you open yourself up to the possibilities. Coming here was never the plan, nor did we even know this existed, but somehow we ended up exactly where we were meant to be. Our final moment of awe came later that same day when we visited Smalls Falls. This was a chain of waterfalls, each with small pools at their bases, which were great for swimming. We had planned to have lunch there, but after just one bite, Lex was so drawn to the water that they couldn't wait any longer, and took the plunge right then.
I love swimming and I love being near the water, in the water, and something that has been challenging for me in the past is navigating cold water temperatures, and I'm really trying to challenge myself with that now, and I've been doing a really good job of it where
Yeah, it was impressive.
if I want to swim, I get right in. I don't gradually try to get used to the temperature. I just go right for it. And honestly, that's been incredible. I don't think about it at all, and then I just get straight to the part where I'm enjoying it, and then I don't even think about the temperature. I don't think I thought about it at all this whole trip.
That's really impressive.
And so then I can just get to my enjoyment even faster and really soak it in and not feel like there's a huge barrier between being able to do that. And it seems silly that something like that could keep you from doing like such a fun thing that I love so much. So I'm honestly like really proud of that.
Yeah.
Like, it seems small, but I think it's a really good mindset to have.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point if you want to get in anyway. You might as well just do it.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of moments where I was just like sitting on the beach or on the rocks or something, and I kind of just like daze off for a second, and I come back and you're just gone deep in the water.
This was a bucket list moment for Lexi, a dream come true. When I asked them why it was so profound, they said, "That is exactly like the happy place that I always envisioned in my mind. It's the place I'd go to ground myself in difficult times. And today, I got to be there for real." This type of trip is exactly why we moved to Maine in the first place. When we returned home to our riverside oasis, we realized something wonderful, that our great trip didn't have to end. We are still immersed in nature, and we can still push ourselves, and we can still support one another. Our vacation mindset didn't have to end just because we came home. Instead, we have allowed that feeling to continue into our daily life. But instead of a canvas tent in the woods, we're surrounded by our cats, our comforts, and everything that brings us peace and joy in our lives.
Look at the shirt I got today. Does this not scream I'm an artist or what?
Moving to Maine was always about more than just wanting a change of scenery or wanting to live near the ocean. It was about finding a place that we could truly go and restore, grow, heal, and relax. And I think we found just that.
Take me back to that mountain road, the one that led to the swimming pool. The fish I caught with my line and pole, I let them go, I let them go. Do you remember when we...
I remember mentioning to Keegan before that
Thank you, my
Fantastic. So your tea.
My chi. Cut that out. That's weird. No, stay.
Olive!
Any noodle.
Thanks, bud.
Right. I feel like a burnt-out mother.
Yeah. Can we just have 10 minutes, please?
Stop screaming. Like, I can't go to the grocery store.
Right.
So, thank you for that. Thanks, Olive.
Does
Chester.
anyone have anything to say? Oh. Chester, is there something you want to say to the camera?
That he hates me.
Yeah. All right.
Let's feed these cats.
Yeah.
Come on.
God.